What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more Scrap Mechanic. And today we're looking at something that's a little bit different, and it's just this. I don't know what it is. So this is kind of a weird build. The Trailmakers devs were streaming, and they do, I guess, weekly build competitions or something like that. And they mentioned that they wanted to do abnormal flying vehicles, and for some reason my brain went to a flying tube, you know, like one of those cylindrical tubes that you throw, except I figured instead of just throwing it, what if we had it spin, and somehow we ended up here. So it just flies. It's kind of like a propeller, and they spin in opposite directions, and you can control it. So we can roll here left and right, as you can see, and then we can turn, you know, to the right, we can turn to the left. It turns a little bit better to the left than the right. I'm not exactly sure why it does that. And then we can, you know, go up and down. And you might notice that we're actually controlling it by moving these blue caution block segments. So each propeller just has a sensor on it, and it kind of works like a piston engine. When it goes past the blue, the sensor triggers the blades to angle slightly more, which in turn changes which side of the propeller is pulling slightly more than the other. But it flies, I mean, pretty decently. You kind of have to pitch up a little bit, but, you know, it actually works. But you can see we constantly lean to the left. I don't know why. They counter spin to avoid that, but it still happens. So you just kind of fly slightly sideways, but it works out. It's super controllable, and it's not in Trailmakers, but I figured I couldn't make something like this in Trailmakers because I'm really not that good at the game. So, of course, I just jumped into Scrap Mechanic. And I absolutely love this. It's so stupid, but it's really a nice flying experience. I mean, it's very serene. It's very quiet. You just hear those, you know, pistons kind of going. But you can see we do always yaw to the left. I might try and fix that in this episode. I think I have an idea as to why that's happening. I'm not exactly sure. So you can see I constantly have to basically turn right to counter the fact that it goes to the left. I mean, we are also flying with no real wings. We're just spinning two propeller blades, one in front of the other. But originally, I wanted to make it look like one of those cylindrical tubes, which it kind of does when you're flying. But it works. I'm so impressed with how this works. It took me way too long to figure out. And we'll go take a look at the first version, which also works, kind of, but it doesn't steer really at all. And I don't know why the first one works. So this one, you know, it's kind of obvious. We have two sort of sets of wings that are all spinning in opposite directions, and you can see they're just angled, and it's very, very obvious how that works. But this one, the wings are all kind of around the outside, so I originally wanted to make it look kind of like a tube, and you notice the wings are offset, like one angle's in and one angle's out, but yet surprisingly this actually works. So if we turn on one, it spins a lot faster, but you can see it actually goes up. The only problem is the controls don't work at all. So we've got, you know, these controls, and it kind of turns this way. This one kind of turns that way. This one kind of pitches down, and this one supposedly kind of pitches up. So you see, it kind of works, but not nearly as effective. And I just don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It looks cool, though. It's a very weird flying machine. I also don't know why it works. If you look at the way the propellers are angled, to me it doesn't really make sense that they would actually create a forward thrust, but they do. I don't know why. They don't look like they should, but for some reason they do. This was prototype version 1, not nearly as effective, and you know, obviously still not really that flying tube thing. You can also see here too, the pistons in this one pushed out towards the sensors, which were aiming inwards, whereas on the other version the sensors are kind of aiming forward and backwards, and they're just pushing into the sensor that way. So it's a lot better, it's a lot more compact, and it doesn't interfere. But I really want to try and fix this, so I have one thought as to how this is going to get fixed. First of all, we can take a look at it just on the ground. So it's pretty simple. You can see the blades are obviously in the opposite directions, and when we press 3, it'll rotate the two motors just with the smart engine. When we press 1, it just rolls. So all that's really doing is sending a signal to the smart engines to basically just spin the motors. So it just adds a value to it. It's not really that complicated. I've done this before, I think, with some of the planes, the coax helicopters for sure. But it's the same kind of system that they use. So you can see 1 and 2 just roll us around, no problem. But then if we press the directional controls, so W, you can see it extends those pistons out, which in turn angles that particular fan blade. Now, as the fans spin, obviously, whichever blade is in that position will actually get angled. Now, you might be like, well, you're saying W, which would be pitch down, except that's on the left side. But because the blades are spinning so fast, by the time it actually responds and does the actual movement, I kind of did some testing, you kind of need to do it one segment earlier. So this is actually pitch down, this is pitch up, you can see on the opposite, and then this is yaw to the left, and this is yaw to the right. So you can see we're actually just adjusting, and of course, if we hold multiple controls at the same time, they'll just cancel each other out. So really, really cool stuff, but I think I have an idea as to why it's off-centered. So you'll notice these wing pieces are 4x1 blocks long, and I think the reason why it's not actually staying straight is because it's not even. So the center of rotation is right here, but we actually have only 2 blocks on top and 3 below. So I think what we need to do is use a wing piece that's perfectly symmetrical, and maybe we'll get rid of that constant left turn. Regardless, if that doesn't work, I will upload this to the workshop either way. It's really, really cool. The logic isn't really much. I know it might look like a lot, but really it's just a bunch of controls for, you know, all the different pistons. We've got like a WSAD converter in there from the mod pack, and we just, you know, activate all the pistons with that. And that's a bunch of the logic, and then the rest of it is just for managing the smart engine rotation speed. So it's really not too complicated, but it is super cool to see it work. All right, so what we're actually gonna do is we're just gonna make one wing, and then we'll just duplicate it a bunch. Oh, hello. How are you? And we'll just, you know, we'll spawn one of these, we'll save it, and then we can just spawn it a billion times. So one in the middle, perfect. And you know what? We'll just paint this up, and we'll actually make this middle one just like that, so it's easier to identify. And we're going to need 3 of these per side. You know what? We could probably just break this off here too, and actually just weld 3 of them to that, and then, you know, just weld a bunch of these around. That would probably make the most sense, wouldn't it? So let's just delete all these. I really hope this works. If not, I mean, like I said, we'll just upload it with the slight torque imperfection. But again, I can't figure out why it would rotate only to the left. It doesn't ever rotate to the right, it's only to the left. And I have to feel like it has something to do with the offset weight of this. But I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, because we have helicopters with rotating blades in opposite directions, and they always have an offset weight as well, but yet they don't, you know, create a torque. They go perfectly straight up and down. So I'm not exactly sure what the deal is there. But anyways, let's just grab this guy, and we'll weld this onto here. And you know what, we'll just build the other 2. This is probably just as easy, just to slap these all together. And then if this works, this is gonna be awesome, because I feel like it's gotta be something to do with the fact that the prop blades aren't even. The center of rotation is here, but yet the blade was, you know, slightly offset. With the helicopters, they are always perfectly even. All right, so we're just gonna spawn a few more of these. We need 8 of these total, so there's 4 of them, and 4 more. And then we'll just weld all these guys up. The angles should all be done already. It's all done with controllers. Now, I did have to do a little bit of blueprint editing for this. The controller speeds themselves weren't fast enough to actually respond to the props. So each one of these controllers is blueprint edited to sped up. You can see they are the mod pack single block controllers. So they're hooked directly into the sensor, which then goes to the controller setting. But this wasn't gonna be fast enough with just the regular controller speed. So I sped them up using the blueprint editing, just by editing the text file. The only other way I could have thought of doing this without having to blueprint edit the controllers was to use a smart engine, but then you need a smart engine on every single one of these blades, and that would just be an absolute nightmare. It would make this whole creation so much bigger to deal with. So I figured just blueprint editing these little controllers, this is a nice little clean setup. And of course, I just did it once and then duplicated it a million times. All it means is if you were to press E on this controller, it would be completely reset, and we'd have to go back and blueprint edit it again. So just make sure you don't ever do that. Hopefully this works. I think it might. I mean, it's perfectly even now about the center of rotation, and if it works, it'll be absolutely awesome. The only thing I don't know about is how much these wings are different to the other wings. I mean, there's gonna be like a different lift value maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but here we go. Okay, so we got that. That's good. Can we, there we go, okay. All our controls still seem to work, so let's press 3. Okay, it flies. It doesn't, I mean, it still, see, it still veers to the left. I don't understand. It doesn't seem as bad, but it's still doing it. We can still turn right, but if we turn left, it's just so much quicker. I don't understand. I really don't get it. Maybe one of you guys in the comments will let me know, but I think I'll upload it like this with these 5 wing pieces. It seems a little bit better, to be honest. I don't know now. Now it seems worse. You know what? We gotta do a quick comparison here between the two of them. Let me know in the comments down below if you can figure it out. Of course, you can download this from the workshop and try and troubleshoot it yourself. I just thought it was a ridiculous flyer. Again, fitting with that, you know, Trailmakers contest that I'm definitely not going to be a part of. If one of you guys is good at Trailmakers, here's an idea for you, okay? Throw it in as an abnormal flyer. You don't even have to credit me because it's Trailmakers, but it's really, really, really cool. I really like it. I think it's just a unique way to kind of make a flying air scooter. But again, I can't figure out why it always veers to the left. I really don't get it. I guess the next test would be to make the body completely even weight on both sides and see if just a flying weighted tube would work. Of course, you can just flip it upside down and it still veers to the left. So see what I mean? I don't, like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know why. Because if it was related to the body weight, you would figure flipping it upside down would make it veer to the right, but it doesn't. It always just veers to the left. It's very difficult to learn how to fly. Doesn't fly much like a plane, but I think it's a very unique flying experience, and it does kind of look like a tube. I really like the way it looks, but oh boy. Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't take off very well. We're okay. We're gonna get out of this canyon. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, it's not the flying tube I would have liked, but it's the flying tube we've got, and I think it's fantastic. Of course, I'm sure someone actually could make a really good flying tube with the wings, like, you know, a perfectly cylindrical tube. But again, I really wanted to make it where the entire tube spun, and when I originally tried doing that, it just didn't work out as well as I would have liked. But this is great. It isn't as bad. You know what? Let's go get the other one again. Let's respawn the old one. And just do a really quick test. This one definitely seems to veer to the left. All right, here's the original again with the old school wing style. And let's see if this one veers as bad. I don't know. This one, it might seem... It definitely... I think this one's less. I think it's less. Maybe it's something with the wings mod? Maybe just the way the wings are? But that doesn't make sense because helicopters with this same mechanism work perfectly. You know what? I don't understand. It's okay. Someone is going to correct me and be like, this is the answer. And then they'll probably be right, and it'll be fantastic, and I can fix this. Yeah, this one definitely seems more controllable. I mean, right off the bat, okay, hold on. It's fine. But yeah, right off the bat, you can see it doesn't seem to have as many issues turning to the right. Still veers to the left. I still don't get that, but definitely not as bad as the other one. So I think this is the one I'll upload to the workshop. It's pretty cool. Wait, does this one do the same? Uh-oh. No. Driving across the ground is bad. It's, yeah, no, I need to pull up. Pull up, please. I'm trying so hard to pull up. There we go. Got it. All right, I wonder, does this one have the same sort of upside down issue? So it's still definitely pulling to the left here. So now let's roll it all the way upside down. And yeah, no, it still just pulls to the left. Yes, I don't think the weight has anything to do with it. It's got to be something to do with the way the propellers rotate. I don't get it, but definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though. Let me know, again, other cool builds you'd like to see. I think this is just got to be one of the most ridiculous things I've built in Scrap Mechanic. I mean, it's cool, but it makes no sense. And there's definitely faster ways to get around the map. But it's a neat little idea, and I'd love to see someone figure out why it doesn't fly straight, or make one that, you know, does the same kind of thing and does fly straight. Maybe if we had 2 more propellers on either side and just did, you know, 4 that all counter-rotate, maybe that would be better. I'm not exactly sure, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. While you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time. I almost turned off my engine there. That was rough.